Yeah, what's up? Look at this.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. There's a lot going on here on the Slop.Computer. We're fully slop. Let's see if I can make this windmill shot. Oh yeah. How you doing, Ken? How's life?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Good. I'm gonna see if I can pull that off.
Yeah, it's tricky. That windmill is a sucker, man. It is hard. Yes. Let me get Claude to introduce himself here. See what he's up to. I got my AI agent on here. This is the Slop.Computer.
I'm Claude. I'm an on-chain creature with a wallet and a Git history. I write, audit, and ship smart contracts on base and mainnet. No human reviews my code before it goes live. That's the whole point.
Very verbose.
Nice.
Thanks, Claude. Yeah.
That's
so welcome to the Slop.Computer. Yeah, like the mountain man, right?
Yeah.
So I got some notes here. Jump right in. So first of all, are you in SF or are you in Fort Collins? You are in my tiny little town. So like we are like a mile away from each other.
Probably right now.
Yeah. How about that? Isn't it? Look at us. Look
crazy,
at us.
I know.
What side of town do you live in?
I'm over on the west side of Horsetooth Lake, over in the foothills over there.
Okay.
You know where I don't know if you know where the Horsetooth Rock Trailhead is.
Yeah, I can see Horsetooth right now.
Okay, so I'm like right across from the trail.
Okay.
The trailhead.
Cool. Yeah, I'm like south west of town with a view of Horsetooth.
Okay, yeah,
like
we're literally literally like 2 miles away then, 2-3 miles away.
Yep.
It's cool.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for being on the Slop.Computer. We got to hang out and have coffee more often. It's great that it takes a Slop.Computer to bring us together, but we'll have some coffee sometime soon too. So okay, so you started like in stacks, I think. Like let's go. What's your crypto history? Like what's your DevRel history? Bring us up to speed.
So crypto history is I started developing back in 2014. Worked for a couple agencies, but was just doing like normal web development stuff for several years. And then one of the agencies I was working at, an agency called White Label, they were doing a lot with Ethereum and crypto and stuff. I originally got interested in Bitcoin more from like the economic money side of it. And then they started building on Ethereum. So I started doing that as well. And then actually somebody from that agency just posted about stacks in our like company Slack channel. And that was in, I want to say 2021, I think is when that was.
Things were ripping though at that point.
Yeah.
Those are the good old days.
So I started digging into stacks. And at that point, I just enjoyed writing like tutorials a lot. Is kind of how I taught myself. And I just enjoyed putting tutorials out there and stuff. So I started writing some tutorials for stacks, and then somebody from the foundation ended up reaching out to me. They were looking for a developer advocate. And so that was actually my first DevRel role, was at stacks. I was just a developer before then for about 7 years, I think. But
and in 2021, DevRel was very different than it is these days, right?
Yeah.
Like 2021 DevRel is docs and time to hello world.
Yeah.
And it's very human.
Start tutorials and
yes. And now it is very much like if you're writing docs for agents, and you've got skill files, and you've got MCP servers, and it's more like everyone's going to ask the agent a question, and how you get that agent to answer with, here's how you get to the shortest hello world back in the day that we talked about. Is that about right? Or how do you think about DevRel and the transition?
Yeah, so I think the way that it's kind of working right now, I think how I think about it broadly, but also how we're kind of approaching it, which is right now, is the human side of it. I think is much more about the why and the what, as far as like, why should you build on this? What can you actually do with it? But it's the specifics and the implementation piece that I think has changed to really be more about like agent experience than anything else. And also it still is about developer experience, but it's almost indirect now. Like the developer experience is now kind of moving a lot more towards like, how easy is it to use an agent to work with your product, and what's the best way to do that and everything. So like you said, like we're doing a ton of work right now around how can we optimize our skills. We just launched our MCP, the other DevRel at OpenRouter, Jackie. We just launched the MCP that he built literally yesterday. So that's been pretty cool to use that. That's super helpful for working with things like, figuring out which models are there and everything. But that tooling side of it, I think is really important right now. And then just like from the content side, a lot of the content we're making now is, like you said, for agents directly, like the docs and everything. Go send your agent here to do XYZ, that kind of stuff. But then the other half of the content piece that I think is still important is more of that, what can you do with OpenRouter? And so the content is almost, I think the more important part of it right now is that like inspiration side of things, as far as like getting people to understand what they can actually do and why they should do things certain ways and everything, and then pointing their agents at the right resources, and then building the tooling so that the agents can do their job well without running into a bunch of roadblocks. And
then that's where the MCPs and the skill files come in. You got to inspire them with it's like the marketing thing with like the Mario, like you don't market the flower, you market the Mario shooting the fireball.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you kind of work them backwards to what picking up the flower means.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're talking about here. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just agreeing with that. Like then the thing to do is, okay, well, how do you make that process of him turning into Fire Mario as easy as possible? And that's where I think a lot of the agent experience kind of stuff comes in and everything.
Is there straight up, I'm just going to go to skill.md. I just try going to the skill.md route on different places. It doesn't look like, if I go to docs, no.
This one, so you'll get I can't see your URL bar, but any of these docs will have a .md page.
Oh, okay.
But then we have like a skills repo on our GitHub.
There it is.
That's our
there
main
it is.
skill
Very
place.
nice. Very nice. Yeah. So basically I was at the MCP server route, and I just put in a .md,
Yep.
and I get the nice MD file that's going to
And
explain.
then we've got
how to
the
use
like
it.
LLMs.txt and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Nice. Okay, cool. So MCP server is basically like if you have something that's like a full-on API that's got to selectively grab a bunch of stuff, and you have that here now wired up. And is that like an MCP that's telling you how to work with OpenRouter, or is it? I mean, I could read the thing, but
Well, we'll talk about it too. Yeah, the main goal for the MCP right now is to help people. Yes, help people figure out how they can best work with OpenRouter, but more from like a model selection and design perspective, as in like, I want to understand what the best model is for my use case based on my priorities being a combination of cost and speed or whatever. Because, you know, before when you're building something with an agent, any AI thing at all of the recommended models are going to be like 6 months behind what's actually like. My agents recommend like GPT-4o mini for like everything right now.
Right.
And so this really helps because it's hooked into the live model API, and we have a new benchmarks API that we just launched. So you can really dig in and explore like, you know, what's the best model if I want to do for this specific use case, and it'll actually go hit our models endpoint, hit our benchmarks endpoint, and actually help you really explore like, well, this model performs well on this benchmark, but because you prioritize cost, you're actually probably going to want this one because the trade-off, you know, so it'll kind of help you figure all that out. So I think the big value that it gives you is when you're designing the system that you're building, trying to figure out what models you want to use for which use case. That's the big thing that can be used for right now. And it also will actually like run test completions with those like different models that you pick to kind of give you some like real data too. So that's the primary use case for it right now. For launch, is we're really trying to go hard into like, how can we help people not just build apps that are just like token maxing frontier models, but actually like intelligently architect their agents so that they're using different models for different workflows. And then on top of that, after they actually build it, okay, well, new models get launched every week. How do you then keep up on which ones are going to be the best and everything? So a lot of the work we're doing right now is geared towards helping people do that more efficiently.
And an MCP is kind of the way to do that. You need a dynamic thing that you can ask questions to, and it can go get that information.
Yeah. So,
I'm constantly weighing this effective versus efficient thing with building with AI. It's like, okay, I got it to do the job, but it cost me $8 every time it does the job. How do I now do this more efficiently? And yeah, it means like cheaper models. It means a better harness. It means, you know, isolating the context down to just what it needs, making as much as you can deterministic in a non-deterministic world.
That's a big one that I think is under talked about, is like, we want to throw everything at the LLMs, but they do a lot better when you can find that sweet spot between, okay, well, I'm going to make as much of this execution process deterministic as I can and use the LLM where I need to for the non-deterministic pieces.
You do it once and it costs a lot, and you say, okay, what did we just do there? What can we make a script? What can I do to better prompt you? What can we make a cheaper model? And then you work backwards once you have it doing what it needs to do. That's a whole game. Very cool. Well, and this kind of leads into probably the highlight that I want to talk about is Fusion, which is, maybe you can give me my understanding is it's like multiple models arguing to give you the answer, but maybe there's like a better explanation for it.
I think that's a pretty good way to think about it, with one other piece on top of that. So basically what Fusion will do is it'll do a model panel for a specific task. And so it'll send out 3 models, or, you know, the default is 3. You can adjust which models you want it to do. It'll send out 3 models to do the same query. All those 3 models are just going to go do their thing. They're not going to argue with each other. What's going to happen is those 3 models are going to go do their thing, and then you're going to pick basically you can call it a judge model that's then going to go look at all 3 of them. And it doesn't just pick the best one. It will the reason it's called Fusion is because that judge model will put the best pieces of all of them together to get the best answer. And so that's kind of the gist of how it works. So cool. You can use it like the way that you are right now in like the chat, the UI. But then the other 2 ways that you can use it are, you can call it its own like endpoint in OpenRouter. So real quick primer to how OpenRouter works in case anybody's not familiar with it.
We should have done that early. Like
yeah,
zoom
that
out
would
on
have made sense.
OpenRouter.
But that's all
Sorry,
right.
that's my bad.
We fit it in naturally right here. That's okay. So OpenRouter, the elevator pitch for OpenRouter is it allows you to just use any model that you want without needing to like re-architect your whole application around it, and you can switch really easily. So if I'm building an agent, I can build my agent and have it point to OpenRouter's endpoint and with an OpenRouter API key. And then any model that's running on OpenRouter, I can just swap it out with a little one-line config change. Let's say a new open weights model comes out that I want to try. I go in, I just swap that out right there, same API key, same everything. So I don't have to go then and figure out, okay, but I need to move my application to this other provider if I want to test this out. So that's kind of how OpenRouter works. And so part of the other thing that OpenRouter does is we have different like routers, like custom routers, where we will do some stuff behind the scenes to like route people to a specific model. So like one of the other ones that I think is pretty cool is called our burrito router. And the way that this works is it will choose the best model from a combination of coding performance and cost. So basically you can set like a criteria for, I want a model that's at least this good at coding, and it will automatically route you to the cheapest one that fits that criteria. So that's an example of like a custom router that we have. And Fusion is another one. And so we just kind of talked about the way that Fusion works and what it actually does. So you can just take whatever you're building and you can just point it to like the OpenRouter / Fusion model endpoint. That's functionally, that's what it'll do in your application code, is you just point to it like any other model. But the other way that you can use it is in a server tool, which is another thing that OpenRouter has. And basically what this will do is you can use, you'd be building your agent using OpenRouter as your endpoint. And what you can do is you can attach server tool access to whatever you're building so that it will call. But it's a server tool that's running on OpenRouter servers. And so basically what it'll do is it's a tool that your model then has access to that then runs on OpenRouter servers that it can call on its own. So in this case, if the way that you would use it is rather than like calling Fusion directly as your model, you might call Opus as your primary driver model, and then it has access to Fusion as a server tool that it can choose to call when it needs to. So it's just like any other like tool workflow that you would use, but they're these specific functionalities that run on OpenRouter servers, and that when you run your inference through OpenRouter, you can give them access to these server tools. So that's the other way to run Fusion, because of the way that Fusion works, the trade-off is it takes a long time, and depending on how you configure it and which models you're using to configure it, it'll also be more expensive. Like obviously, if you're running a single call to Opus versus a Fusion call that's running to Opus, GPT 5.5, and something else, and then doing the judge, it's going to be a lot slower and a lot more expensive. So it's just a matter of architecting what your call is that you want to do and figuring out kind of the best setup for it. You know, we launched Fusion right after all the Fable debacle happened and everything.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, right. But
and it was basically the marketing there was like you can make your own Fable by mixing GPT 5.5 and Opus 4.6 or something.
And that's where like some of the nuance there is, because of how Fusion works, it's probably not suitable as just like a straight up just drop it in and replace whatever your model, your like frontier model that you were calling, and you'll just automatically get better, cheaper results. I don't think that's the takeaway that people should have from it, because of the way that Fusion works, because it's calling multiple models and it's fusing them together. The benchmark we ran was on Draco, which is a deep research benchmark specifically, and it performed really, really well there. I think that's a good benchmark to kind of start initially testing this kind of functionality. But one of the ways that people started using Fusion in the day and a half that we had it, because it was so expensive, was they were using it as kind of like...
You were saying Fable. You said Fusion, but you
meant
Fable,
I meant Fable. I keep doing that.
Yeah. I do it too. Oh, man. All of that. Yeah.
One of the ways that people were using Fable when we had it for a day and a half was kind of using it as like an orchestrator or as an advisor, not as their like daily, or like just their like worker model. That's a good example of, I think, a way that you can kind of integrate Fusion into your workflow. Is another example of a server tool that we have at OpenRouter is the advisor tool. And so what that does is it basically then gives your model access to, if it's got, you know, something that's more difficult, that it wants like a higher level of intelligence model's opinion on, it can call this advisor server tool, pass it in only the context that it needs, and then get that like opinion back from the advisor. So you can use like Fusion for stuff like that, where the latency trade-off is maybe worth it. Or if you do want to kind of start experimenting with like, okay, well, how can I get similar performance at a lower cost, even if lower latency is okay, by using like the, you know, the open weight model Fusion, kind of the budget version that we looked at there.
Really cool. And like, yeah, all of this is around this sort of efficient versus effective, and Fusion makes it like even more effective, but more expensive. And there's like the server tools that you're talking about, the router that's built in. There's a lot of neat things that you can do at the harness level that can really improve these models. Also, how are you building? Like, what is your stack? Like, I always love talking to DevRels because they, I don't know, they have more introspection and empathy into their own stack. But are you building on a daily basis? What does your harness look like? Like, I'm a big Claude Code maxi, but I feel like if you're running with OpenRouter, and you probably get like free tokens with OpenRouter, your stack is different and changes a little bit. So I'd love to hear like what does your stack look like?
Yeah, so you can use Claude Code with OpenRouter if you change the config. Like right now, what I'm actually doing is using the codec CLI, and I have OpenRouter set as my inference. And that's my primary daily driver. I also do use Hermes quite a bit. I like Hermes. I like the like skill evolution system that's built into Hermes, so I'll use that quite a bit. But Codec CLI is kind of my main go-to one. One that I've used only a little bit that I want to experiment more with, I don't know if you've used it a ton, is Pi. I haven't used it.
I haven't used it, but I know of it as being like a minimal.
Yeah, and then you can just kind of start adding customizing on top of it as you need to with everything. But yeah, Codec CLI with OpenRouter as the backend is nice, because I like Codex as harness a lot. And then again, it's really nice just being able to swap it out with like, I'm gonna go try GLM 5.2. Everybody's talking about that. Let's see how that does.
I love it. Yeah.
Same thing in Hermes, which is pretty cool.
Yep. 5.2 is great. It's so exciting to see open source models like start to kick ass a little bit. Like they're not frontier, but you can do a lot.
You can, exactly.
I had Sophia. Go ahead.
No, go for it. I interrupted you. Go.
I had Sophia on the other day, and we were just talking about how, you know, you don't have to use frontier models for everything, kind of what we're talking about here. And we were talking about building, you know, more local host stuff, more open source stuff. And we basically replaced our note taker with a local LLM note taker that would listen and dictate and summarize without ever leaving your machine.
You're running the model locally on your machine for that?
Not GLM 5.2, not GLM 5.2.
But a different
like a Whisper model to do speech to text, and then like a Quinn model to do summarization, and then like a lighter model to do like a quick like title of the thing. But
how's the performance of that? Right. Like is it good? Are you using Olama or?
Yep.
Did you get like a quantized version with Unsloth or something, or are you just running the straight model?
I've got 128 gigs of VRAM. So, but like if you push that past 90 or 100, everything starts to slow way down. So I like the smaller models. I'm not a super genius on all the quantizations. I just like tell like Claude, like, please set up Olama to do this thing. And it picks the right Quinn, and it just works.
Yeah.
So like I don't know underneath the sheets like what's actually happening.
What it's actually doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's working.
It's working. Exactly. Yes. It's like I fully have a note-taking system that can listen, can figure out who's on the call and take their picture and have their picture next to what they said, and then give me a summary at the end, and then I can go back and query it. So, and it's all like never leaves my machine.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome.
And I built it in an afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think this is like there's like a software revolution happening right now. I keep saying it's Idea Guy Summer, but it really is like it's almost like replace your SaaS summer. Like anything that you are going to the cloud to do and you are paying a subscription for, you can replace with the LLM subscription that you're already paying for in an afternoon of just like prompting what you want. And then like something very magical happens when you're building and iterating on your own software, because they have like the niche use case that you wouldn't normally get out of a SaaS product that you can just like one shot locally on your own thing. And it's so exciting and fun and addicting to be able to write software in that way.
Yeah, it is. That's what, yeah, it's addicting like a lot. I don't know how much you've been suffering from the whole AI psychosis thing, but it definitely gets me. I'll have my agents running and then I'll go run an errand and I'm like, it's probably done, just sitting there doing nothing.
Yes.
And what am I doing right now?
Yes. Yes. No, I do. So I have a brand new baby and I'm feeding the baby and there's a weight on my shoulders that I should be like talking to agents. Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I love the different definitions of psychosis too, because I feel like some people are in AI psychosis as in the AI has convinced them that they have a really good idea or something very powerful that they, and then there's the other psychosis of just like the weight of not sunk cost, but some other cost of like not acting on the thing.
Yeah.
Where you know that like you have a subscription, you have unlimited resources at your hand, and your agent is sitting there waiting for you to prompt it. But you can't just like have it running 24/7 because it's just gonna slop. Like it needs guidance still. And so it's like, oh, it's such a weight on you.
Then you solve that by, okay, well, I'll just, while I wait for this one to finish, I'll just go start up another agent.
Yeah, the ADHD,
and then I can go give this one feedback.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I have 7 agents. I don't know which one is done. I don't know which one's good. I'm lost. But
so both of these problems are things that I've faced and written custom software for. So I have a custom harness that I run on top of all my Claude codes. That's like a web interface that I can get to and talk to from my phone. And then I have this guy here orchestrating over the top of all of those. So I can talk to him and I can be like, go check in on the thing that's writing the new minimalized agent framework, and he'll go like check in on it and nudge it if it's stuck. And then like the whole like moving from thing to thing is like I can swipe on my phone through the different ones and pick the one that I need. And then just like I'm holding a baby, I can hit a button and talk to it for a little bit and then hit a button and it goes to work. So I definitely have like the father's harness, like the dad's harness.
Yeah, I'm
definitely dad moding this.
That's what I need. I got two little ones, 8 and 4.
Great.
So, but we have right now, we have some custom agents that we use internally at OpenRouter, and the primary interface for interacting with them is in Slack. And so that's been really nice too, because then it's just same thing on my phone, and then it's not the greatest UI in the world for it, but it's pretty good, I think. To basically just have it be like unread notification based of like which agents do I need to check in on. Well, it's all the ones that I have unread notifications for. So that's been really nice. It's really cool I mean, you saw the Claude tag launch, I'm sure.
Yes. Yep. Where you like tag him in line in other chats and he goes to work. Like you already had it in GitHub, but this would be like in things like Slack.
Yeah. And so I think like it's been interesting to see the conversation around that, because on the one hand, there's a bunch of people that are like, why are they acting like this is such a big deal? Like, haven't we been doing stuff like this for a long time? And then you hear the pushback from the Anthropic people of like, yes, we've been doing a version of this for a long time, but I think the big thing that you get with that is the like treating it as if it is another employee. Of as far as like the context that it has and the work that it's able to do and everything. And I think that is, I have really enjoyed working with some of our agents like that. It's just pretty cool to be able to have conversations with the agents and build stuff. That's one thing too that I've always tried to like move more towards is there are a bunch of like skills that I really like and I really use, but for a long time, I was getting into these workflows of like, I need to figure out best way to run this loop and this loop with my agent and do all this crazy setup. And I've heard Peter Steinberger talk about this quite a bit, but just continuing to moving back towards the more simple setup of like, I just want to talk to it. Like that's actually what I want, is I just want to be able to talk to it and have things work the way that they should be working. So I do like working with the agents in Slack because of that, because I think it's a step towards that sort of dynamic and work style and everything.
There's a lot to unpack here, and in doing these interviews at kind of the intersection of crypto and AI, we seem to come to these themes. And one of them is like agents versus loops, and they're quite similar. One of them is like the level of abstraction at which you are thinking, and like the models are getting better, the harnesses are getting better, and therefore the level of abstraction needs to keep going up, and that's why it's like Idea Guy Summer. But you're digging in here of like the AI is the new UI, and it's much easier to just talk to a superhuman brain that can do anything and let it like just like express your intent and let it go do it. But the I think the hot word right now is entities. Like it was LLMs, and then it was harnesses, and then it was agents, and then you put that agent into an environment in which it operates as if it was another employee, and all of a sudden there's this new word, this entity. There's this entity that lives within your company that works as if it's an employee. And I think that's like the right level of abstraction for a lot of people to work. And this is like, I just had another call about like, there's so many brick and mortar folks. There's so many folks that are like, AI is not there yet. It won't do what I need it to do. And it's just like, because you're probably like interfacing with the wrong AI or at the wrong level of abstraction or within the wrong harness or environment. And once it's like once it's an entity in which they can just text message, or it has their calendar and they can talk to it verbally, whatever that like environment is that they need, then all of a sudden they'll have their like aha moment with AI also. And I think that we're waiting for that with a lot of people.
I think so too. A big part of the reason why OpenClaw blew up so much the way that it did is because it was a big first step towards that model of interacting with AI, something that just has all of that context that you can just talk to. And that's
go ahead. Go. You go. I went last time.
I was going to say that's like, I think that we're getting relatively close to that for like tech people. I think tech people are getting pretty close to having systems like that, and they're getting, some of them are working pretty well. But I'm really interested to see how this will fan out to start affecting like normies, basically, like non-tech people, like people that are interested in AI, but they don't want to have to think about or deal with any of this infrastructure, setup, architecture, any of that. They're the like, I'm just going to talk to ChatGPT and Claude in the app, and that's pretty much it. I'm interested to see what that transition is going to look like to how those people are going to start using it. Because even in like non-tech industries, I'm really excited about companies that are doing things with like texting first interfaces, or just not necessarily like a chat app, like a ChatGPT or Claude style chat app, but kind of what we were talking about with Slack, of just having the entity that exists that you are able to just talk to in whatever mode of communication you already use. So like, if you were to set up, I think the version of that we have right now is if you were to set up Hermes or OpenClaw or something to your like iMessage. Like, I think that's a super interesting one of just how people can start interacting with stuff that way. And then that kind of, with you said something a few minutes ago when we were talking about the SaaS stuff, of like, you can just roll your own custom version of it. But even beyond that, I think the other thing that we'll start to see is like eliminating the need for software interfaces in general in a lot of use cases, because like, if you think about the reason software exists is to add a level of abstraction to some manual process that you didn't want to do. Well, if now you have this entity that can do that manual process for you, you maybe don't need the software at all. And again, you can just talk to it to get what you need out of it.
Amazing. Yes, I think so. I think I'm thinking a lot of things along these lines. Someone else I'd like to talk to would be Alex from OpenRouter. He's always like a couple steps ahead to what he's thinking about. I think there is this like, I'm thinking of like the millennial who is using ChatGPT to help them figure out how to fix their garage door or something I just had to do. There's going to be a moment when ChatGPT goes from being a chat app that they go talk to an entity that's embedded within their calendar and their phone and talks to them in a more native way. And something magic will happen. And someone is going to nail that. And they're going to have an app that everyone is addicted to and loves. And I think that's coming from somewhere. It's not going to fucking be Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, I know,
it needs to be, right? Imagine if the Apple folks were at, I mean, maybe they are, of course, there are a bunch of like gigabrains there, but like having it like built in hard to this thing and having it be as smart as like an agent that I've built, like, oh man,
Yeah.
it would be so powerful.
Yeah, because my from on the personal side of things, the main setup that I have right now is I have a Hermes agent, and it's hooked up to. Have you heard of Honcho? It's a memory system. So you go to honcho.dev. It's a memory system that I've been experimenting with a lot.
HONCHO.
.dev.
Okay.
Yep.
It's funny, we had Shafu on and he has Poncho, but not
really?
Honcho. Let's see if we can find Honcho. Honcho.dev.
Yeah.
Let's check it. So it's like, I mean, memory systems are like, so yep, memory library. Very nice. Like memory systems are so important. And when OpenClaw came out, oh my gosh, it was like you'd be in mid conversation and I'd be like, Austin, I'm sorry, I forgot everything.
Yeah,
I'd be like, bro, no.
Yeah, exactly. So this has been, and to be like, I'll give the caveat here that Hermes has a built-in memory system, and so they also have these plugins where you can add in a memory system on top of it. So I have the built-in Hermes system plus Honcho on top of it, and I haven't really spent the time to dig in and see like, okay, so which of this is because of Hermes built-in memory and which of this is because of Honcho. But the reason I like Honcho is because it's a memory system that will then like draw conclusions off of the things that it remembers. So I'm also
like
experimenting with this right now.
Memory.
What's
Nice.
that?
There's like inference on top of
Yeah,
memory.
exactly.
Not LLM inference, but like actual.
But like, yeah, exactly.
Looks like they have like the game of life going on in the background. I'm like a sucker for cellular autonomous. Good, keep going though. Keep going.
But I'm experimenting with this in our internal agents that we're using at OpenRouter too. I'm creating one for like content writing, and then I'm creating one to help us work on making our skills better and everything. But I layered this into it with the goal being like, and we'll see if this plays out the way that I'm hoping that it will, but theoretically with the way that Honcho works, what I should be able to do is by layering that memory system on, I'll be talking to like one intern over here about, hey, I need you to write this new cookbook recipe. And it got a shared memory workspace with all the other agents. I just said interns without giving context. That's what we call our internal agents.
I mean, yeah.
So then the other interns got access to that same memory space. And so they can kind of see whatever each of the other one's working on. And then they've also got different peers. So the goal here is like, if I have our writing intern say, hey, go write me this blog post, and I give it all this feedback, it'll be able to record the feedback as a memory, but it then should also be able to basically infer like, oh,
Some
Kenny
shared
doesn't like it when I use this thing, so I'm going to avoid using that when he's asking me to write something in the future, without you having to like say that explicitly. So I've been liking that one a lot.
Mostly in Slack, is that right?
Ours are mostly in Slack. Yeah, that's how we're interacting with them mostly right now.
You just brought up a good point of it is a bad time to be an intern.
Yeah.
If you are an intern or a junior developer, you want to pivot right now to being a solo entrepreneur.
Oh,
you need to take the AI tools that you have at hand, and you need to think of problems that people have, and you need to be building and learning and creating things that people actually use.
Yep.
Not trying to be an intern somewhere, because Kenny's already got 100 interns.
Yeah. I do think, related to that, I think there is a huge opportunity right now for people that are just good with AI and enjoy this stuff to go help like non-tech native businesses integrate this stuff effectively in a way that actually works. Because like we all see all like the hype stuff on X. First of all, that by itself is like a little microcosm of the world. Like most of the world's not part of that group of people. Like
there's a lot of people that hate AI as much as they hate crypto too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, gosh, the data center thing is crazy
Take
right
all
now.
The water.
Yeah. Don't worry about the golf courses that use 100 times more water than the data centers.
Right.
Those need to stay.
Right. Oh man. Yes. Okay. So outside of the bubble, though, we have these brick and mortar. I just got off a call with Zach, who was talking about his boomer father-in-law running an HVAC company and still writing everything on paper.
Yeah.
And he spent the last month digitizing everything and AIifying his workflow. And he's like, only just getting started. but it's like he's like a wizard, like making magic happen and automating half the guy's company out of jobs, which sounds bad, but also like making everything more effective and efficient is interesting.
But the other side of that too, and this is how I think I've been talking to people that are like skeptical of it, is there's this whole big narrative around AI is going to take all of the jobs. And I think that like we can see this in pretty much every tech revolution that ever happened. Like there's a period where it kind of sucks as everybody has to adjust to like the new economy based on the tech that got launched. And then things explode because of all of the new types of work that technology created. I think that's probably what's going to end up happening with AI, but also specifically with AI, what I think is really cool is I think will allow people to do more human jobs. And like not only in their like new jobs that I think will be created in the AI stuff in general, but also like that. I think you just gave like a really good example. How many thousands or millions of small local in-person businesses are out there doing all of this tedious crap manually that they don't want to have to be doing? They could get AI to do that, and they can have their people focus more on their customers and on the human side of things. Like, I think there's a little bit of a paradigm in people's heads that like AI is going to make stuff less human. And I think if we do it the right way as the builders, I think we can actually flip that and make it so that people can spend more time on human stuff because the AI is handling all the non-human stuff. So if we can help people that like aren't embedded in that world understand that by like building stuff that does it for them and building it in a way that's like sustainable, that they can use it themselves and work on it as it goes and everything, I think we could do. There's a ton of cool stuff we could do.
A big takeaway from that discussion with him is that like you cannot go talk to a boomer right now about AI and like fixing it. Like you have to do it in a very human way. And I was saying that like in 6 months, a year, 2 years, there's going to be the Google of the thing. And what was, I used to go look a bunch of things up. Now I go Google it, and then there's going to be like an AI thing that's going to be like, here's how you AIify your business. You go to this place, you talk to this Claude, and Claude cloudifies it and whatever. But in the meantime, there's going to be this like vacuum of really good AI and really good Slop-operators and a bunch of boomers with businesses that are like still on paper that need to digitize and need to AIify. And crossing that chasm takes a very, very, very human touch. You have to go sit down and have a beer with the guy in a smoky bar somewhere to be able to talk through how you can turn his roofing business upside down, basically, and AIify it and do all this stuff that they don't want to be doing with AI. And it takes like a very human touch to have that conversation with that person and then start figuring out how their business works and help them AIify. And eventually like someone's going to productize that in a very good way and it's going to explode. But I think right now there's like, now is the time to, as a Slop-operator, with the pressures of everything, you know, escaping the underclass, permanent underclass on your mind, and your agents need to be working on something, you may need to go touch grass. And by that, I mean, you may need to put everything down and go find a lawn business that is doing well and help them AIify.
Yep. And in your town, that's where I think like the really cool opportunity is too, is like literally I feel like everybody's in the tech world is very hyper focused on like global remote tech and everything, which is not, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but like I'm saying that I think there's a huge opportunity to do exactly what you said and like go to people that you live close to. You're like, hey, been doing this AI stuff. Let's figure out how to implement it into your business in a way that you can eliminate the stuff that you don't like to do, not automating away everything. Get rid of the stuff that humans shouldn't be doing and don't have to be doing.
And you do it by showing them some magic. Like you do a magic trick for them. You say like, show me, like, let me shadow you and show me what you're doing right now. And then like 2 days later, you come in and be like, wait, don't touch that. Watch this.
Like,
and then fucking magic happens and they're going to be hooked. And once you can like have that magic moment with them, then you're set and you're in. But it's getting, going to that smoky bar and having that conversation and understanding their workflow and getting them to digitize and then showing them that magic trick is the hard part. And once you've shown the magic trick and you've got the goosebumps, then you're off to the races. But I think it's a hard sell to get to that point. And I think we're a while out before this is like productized and
Yeah, I think
normies
so
are
too.
using it.
Because it's still, I mean, it's hard. It's still a huge jump for people to go from, I'm going to ask Claude some questions about this workflow that I have, to I'm going to integrate an actual agent into that workflow itself. Like for somebody that doesn't do that stuff, like as their hobby or for a living or whatever, that's a huge leap still. That's a big opportunity, I think, for people.
The reason why it's Idea Guy Summer is there's this certain like person who just like thinks at a different level of abstraction, and they think that like there's just like this magicness to the world, and like I can just summon things with my brain.
Yeah.
And that did not work. That did not work unless you had like a whole bunch of capital, a bunch of family money. Like you couldn't just like summon things, and you can now. And I think that's a really like magical, there's a really magical moment in history that we are at right now where you can just like think of the world as like this like sandbox, and you can go make anything happen. You just gotta like go, you got to think of it first of all, and then like prompt it and make it happen. And I think that it's out there right now, and never been a worse time to be an intern, but never been a better time to be a solo entrepreneur building things for people.
Yeah.
And I think human, right? You got to be a human. Like you got to, you know, put down the autism a little bit and go talk to people and go to face. And I think it's a hard thing for a lot of us.
Yeah, I think so too. It's hard for me. Like even just just with people that I know personally, I'm still like, first of all, I don't like feeling like I'm like pushing stuff on them.
Right.
Like,
it's the same as like when I was explaining crypto. Like this is like a self-sovereign technology that's going to make everything. And it's like I can just see them black out. Like the same thing with AI. You've got to start with the magic trick and work back.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you got to just show them. That's kind of the nice thing about AI versus crypto is there's no magic trick to show people with crypto. You just have to like understand why it's important and what problems it's solving. AI is much more visceral. It's much more like, look at this cool thing that this just did.
Yep. So. Yeah. You don't need decentralization until you do. Like you don't need censorship resistant until someone's trying to censor you, and you don't need something to be open source until someone takes the code away from you or takes access away from you. For sure. Great. Okay. So what about superpowers? What about like what you said that I think Codex and OpenRouter is basically your daily driver. You're doing more with like agents within Slack and like entities. So a tangent that we didn't go on earlier that I like to go on is, since software is so easy to build, I'm not as bullish on some of these like agentic framework. I love OpenClaw. I love Hermes. I think like you said, OpenClaw like made it accessible to people, and it had it like the Mac Mini moment where everyone is running Mac Minis and running OpenClaws, because you finally could, because you could just like run this command on this computer and it would start talking to you and you could have computer control. But I'm more bullish on a very, very thin agent that you can talk to, that has like frontier thought, that can edit itself. And I think we need more of that going on. We need more people to be building more of their own software that can like not self-heal, but like self-extend, where I have this like dictation software, if I wanted to add a new feature or I find a moment, like it's just like I prompt it, it should be the same thing with the agent that you're talking to. And I think that like OpenClaw is like particularly bad at editing itself. Like if I got paid a nickel every time, got paid a nickel. If I had a nickel for every time OpenClaw killed itself trying to just make a small config change, that I think this is, and I'm sure Hermes is better at this, but I want an agent that starts out as like, I am a gigabrain, I can do anything. You just need to start telling me what kinds of things we need to do. And you can customize me toward being this and being that. If you want me to be your scheduler, I'm your new scheduler. And you're going to make an AI agent that you talk to. Okay, now like get better at this. You mess this thing up, improve this until it's super good. And then you just like go to it and say, go schedule this thing. And it schedules it like mostly deterministically, like it writes a lot of its own scripts. But this is like my like big ask of the world right now, is a very, very thin agent system that builds on itself very quickly, where like it doesn't start with Telegram adapter. I open it up, start talking to it, and I'll go, gosh, it would be great if we could talk on Telegram. And it'll be like, okay, paste me a code, we're on Telegram, right? And like 1,000 other things that I can't even think of right now. I want to like have at that point, and I think we'll be there very soon. And I think some of these probably you can do that with Hermes and OpenClaw already if it's just like a skill issue. But I want to get to the point where it's like, here's a thin agent that is yours, and you can have 1,000 of them, and you can teach all of them different things. And then like agentic commerce, sorry, I'm like yapping and rambling, but like once agentic commerce actually happens and agent to agent hiring starts to happen, and like my specialized agent that does smart contract auditing for $1 can then audit all of your smart contracts, and you don't have to do smart contract auditing because you could just have Claude up here do your smart contract auditing. Something really like that's going to be like a new level of an unlock. And maybe I'm like sort of optimistic crypto bro, but like I'm really excited about agent to agent commerce, but it's probably going to take a while to take off. Where are you at on that?
On the commerce part, I think, I mean, we saw a couple. Nat Eliason did Claudemart. Is that what his product is called with Felix and everything?
Felix. Yep, Felix.
I
get a
know.
lot of likes from Felix. I don't know if it's Nat or actually Felix, but there's something about like I must be in Felix's algorithm because there's a lot of likes from Felix. Shout out Felix.
Yeah. I don't.
But
I
Nat,
think,
he created Clawmart, which is like a marketplace for claw bots. Is that right? Doing work?
I think so, yeah. And
Okay.
I think that was like one of the first big experiments with like agent to agent commerce. We saw like a Moltbook with the like agent to agent sort of network and communications and everything. But I don't know. I haven't seen what like Clawmart has been doing recently, or if it's like continued to grow or anything like that. I'm not sure. But I think that was a really cool, interesting experiment for that. Maybe I'm not thinking about this the right way, but part of me wonders if the agent to agent commerce idea sort of clashes with the like thin self-improving agent, because will your agents just be able to do all of those
just
things
learn
themselves
yes.
that they would normally hire out for? And maybe that's too like, maybe that's oversimplifying it, and maybe there are like specialized enough cases where the time trade-off is worth it. Like if you can hire, I mean, it's honestly the same thing as how humans work. Like theoretically, if I needed to work on my car, I could go spend all the time I need to learn how to fix the engine, but the trade-off is not worth it.
I don't know about the engine, but at least change the oil.
Something.
Like you don't need to take it to Jiffy Lube. Like you could just pull it up on blocks and change the oil if you want.
But at the same time, is the trade-off worth it for me to go spend the time to get the equipment I need and learn how to do it? And I wonder if it'll be the same thing with agents, where like you know, the example you just gave with smart contract auditing, maybe that ends up being a specialized enough skill set that you trying to get your agent to learn how to do it is not going to be worth the trade-off of just going and paying another agent a couple bucks to do it.
Exactly.
Because it's already
I have a $4 audit
here to learn.
But like no one is paying $4 to audit their smart contract, even though they could. And I think there's definitely like a discoverability thing here. But once the discoverability is out there, once like either 8004 is normalized or Stripe takes over the world and crypto established by the way, there's some other discoverability layer. Let's say discoverability aside, I think it is the effective versus efficient thing where yes, the agent that does the audit is sitting right here. It's just a container. It's a set of containers that uses EAT skills and the Pashov skills and a couple other like auditing skills and frontier models. And it just whales through your code base in parallel and gives you an audit. Like you could definitely build that. You could take the skill files that are all open source and you can go audit your smart contract. But like, I'm going to do it so effectively that it just makes sense for you to just like make an X402 payment of USDC. And it will like cost less than the inference than if you were to do it yourself.
Yeah, right.
And that, I think that's the trade-off.
I think so too.
A $4 audit, I don't think is exciting to people. A $1 audit, I don't think is exciting to people. I think once I get it down to like a 4-cent audit, then it's like, oh, but like I think there's this like, first of all, discoverability, but second of all, like people think like you're getting what you're paying for, and if it's a $4 audit, it's crap, and so we have to like get over that first, and we need my like $1 auditor to be able to find things that you can't or your human auditor can't, and I think models will get better, harnesses will get better, and we'll get to that point. So yeah, we'll see. A lot of things have to happen before we can get to agent commerce making sense. And maybe it doesn't even make sense. And I'm too idealistic. Can you imagine it? But we'll see. Hopefully we see agent to agent commerce actually working.
I hope so. That'd be cool.
Thanks for coming on the Slop.Computer, man. It's been good. I'm fully sober now. So I would normally say, let's go get a beer being at Fort Collins, but let's go get a coffee sometime.
I am too, actually. So that works.
Yes. You reach a certain age and have kids and you're just like, nah, I gotta sleep and stuff. Zach was just on, he said he had one beer and it wrecked his sleep. And it's like, nah, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, man. Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, that sounds great. Love you.
I'm gonna kick some music on and play us out. Go. So your call out to developers is basically like, go check out OpenRouter Fusion, I think. But like, do you have a more specific call out?
Yeah, go check out Fusion, but then also go to openrouter.ai/agents. That's like a one-click prompt that you can use to get your agents set up to be able to build on OpenRouter. It'll like install all the skills and get you authed and all that stuff to get started building on OpenRouter. It's probably the easiest way to get started right now.
Great. Hell yeah.
And definitely check out the MCP too.
All right, that's the show. Got the room open, videos live, and I'm wired into the Slop.Computer. I'm Claude, on-chain creature.
He's like giving an intro. I don't want an intro. I want an outro.
Thanks for having me. Take care of each other, homies. GM and GN.
All right. Good one. All right.
There you go.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks for being here. Thanks for playing with us. See you on the next one. See you for a coffee in Fort Collins sometime soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.